Hey, it's Seriously Sis Podcast, and welcome back. And I'm going to kick it over to Julia. She can tell you what we're talking about this week.
When she does that, it's because she's forgotten the topic and she's hoping that I remember what it is. Am I wrong?
I can't confirm nor deny.
I'm right. What we say we're going to talk about is the importance of friendships in cultivating your faith, having good, strong friendships um, as you're walking this walk, because we're not called to do it alone. And I think women in particular struggle, adult struggle with cultivating real friendships with other women that aren't petty or catty or just full of nonsense. And I really do think, when we are able to develop those friendships, that we grow in a way that we don't grow
Right.
without them. So I guess we want to talk through how we can kind of position ourselves to find those friends and not run them away, because a lot of us are good at that.
Yeah, I think when you say that women have a harder time than men doing that, I think you're spot on. You're spot on because I think about me and I think about Michael, and he just has everyone's his friend. And actually, it's kind of annoying sometimes. I'm like, man, this guy could talk to everybody
Mm-hmm.
and everybody likes him. And I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
It's driving me crazy. But women in general, I think women do have a harder time creating those relationships now. And I don't know if it's a societal thing or if like we're always feeling like we got to compete with one another for some reason. Like, I don't know if that's like something we were brought up doing, competing, or, feeling
Mm-hmm.
like we're competing amongst each other. But yeah, I do think can be a struggle for ladies to have relationship. But I want to add on to what you're saying, also having the right friends around
Sure.
you. We talked about building your faith in friendships, how it helps grow it. Well, having the wrong friends will help.
Destroy it.
Yes, and it'll help do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. So I want to touch on that, but I do want to talk further about the reasons why we struggle some. And I think you're right. I think that there is a culture of competition
Right.
amongst women, and I don't really know what the origin of that is. I don't know why we do that. I don't know if it's because we feel like we're competing for a limited amount of men. I don't know why we do that, but I just see that in girls by and large, not all women obviously, but like by and large we tend to compete with each other, and I don't know if it's because of a lack of identity or what it is, but that stands in the way of us being able to develop those friendships. I think the other thing that stands in the way of us being able to develop those friendships is intentionality. It's much more difficult to build a deep friendship as an adult. And when I say adult, I'm really talking about 30s, 40s. It's kind of hard to do that because you've got family, you've got your careers that you're a
Right.
part of, you've got all these things. And it's not like it was when you were in school or when you were in your 20s, where I was in college and I was just around these people, so I got to know them, kind of thing, and we were together all the time, and so the friendship was just birthed. Or I was in my 20s and I was clubbing and I just surrounded myself with a bunch of people who were also clubbing, and it just worked that way. I think in your 30s it takes a little bit more intentionality to do that, because you've got to make time
You do.
sometimes when you don't have time. And then, especially if you're a Christian, if you're really wanting to walk this walk, then that pool is much more narrow, because it's not just any and everybody who has the same interest that I have. It's someone who's also walking in the same direction that I'm walking in. And that can be hard to find.
Yeah, and I think that women are a little petty. Right. And we have a tendency to, we have kind of our own language. We speak with each other. We don't have to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take but an eyebrow look for me to be like, you good? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that person clearly doesn't like me. I think we overanalyze everything. A lot of women, we don't know how to control this very well.
Mhm.
Why? I don't know. We just don't. And naturally, I think that makes us one, unapproachable, and
Mhm.
two, we make assumptions that people just hate us based off of a look, like,
Yeah.
oh, that person don't like me,
Mhm.
just based off of a look. So I think it is a little bit of an uphill battle,
Yeah.
being a woman. But to your point with the intentionality, that's with anything that,
Mhm.
and just so you know, in your 30s, 40s, 20s, I don't teens, whatever it is, anything you pour your time into is going to grow.
Right.
So, when I think of friendships that I have, like, I take time to pour into those friendships. It actually makes me think about when I was younger, and it makes me think about my dad and my mom were divorced when I was younger, and my dad did not really wouldn't try to call me. He wouldn't try to seek me out at
Mhm.
all. And I got into my teens and I said, you know what? I'm going to start reaching out to him. I'm
Mhm.
going to be intentional and I'm going to start trying to build this relationship. Now, I could have just been like, you know what? This guy clearly doesn't love me, doesn't care about me. He's not trying to pursue me. I'm a kid, he's the dad, whatever.
Mhm.
But I was like, what did I want?
Right.
I wanted to have a relationship. And I knew in order for me to have a relationship, I was going to have to be the one to do the work because he wasn't going to.
Mhm.
And it's no different than in friendships. If you want a good friendship, you're going to have to put in the work, and it can't just be one person doing it, because I can only pour into you for so long until I'm like, all right, I'm just going to not. I'm
Right.
just not going to.
Just come back up.
Yeah.
Fall back a little bit.
Done calling them. They never answer.
I get that. Was that aimed at me?
No, no.
Sure it was.
But Michael did say something one time. He asked me, he was like, I wonder if I stop calling and reaching out to all of the friends that he has, how long it would take him to hear from them.
Mm.
I was like, dang.
Yeah, if you stop texting me, I'm blowing you up and be like, "What you doing? Don't you know we got stuff to do?"
Are you coming or no? She actually had to text me over here on the way here. She was like, hey, so are we meeting? I was like, I'm so glad you reminded me. I knew I was forgetting about something.
See, so we're not in any danger of that. I was talking with someone not that long ago. They were saying that they don't really have any deep friendships, and I just happen to know this person really well. And my response was, "Well, show yourself to be friendly, and you will have friends." And I think for myself, I think for both of us, we kind of have like a resting face we have to be
Yes,
aware of.
we do.
And we are also very much okay with being by ourselves. Like we can be extroverted, but we are not naturally extroverts. Like we have to be in the arenas in which we find ourselves in work and
Right.
worship and all the things. But we're really okay with just falling back.
Absolutely.
And so, if there's not a situation in which we feel like we have to be that way, I think our natural inclination is just to, chill, just, do our thing. We're very much okay sometimes with supporting character energy, and you can't always do that
Right.
when no
Right.
one knows who you are. Like one of the reasons why it was important to me to find a church whenever I decided to move back home was because I knew I need friends here, friends that I can like actually be with. I have friends, but they were in where I left. And I was like, I know I need friends here. The only way I'm going to find them is if I go out looking for them. So, so I went
Can't
to
find them
church.
from my sofa.
Can't find them for myself. And so I went to church and I did what is just absolutely horrific to me. And I struck up conversations.
It's really funny that you say that, and that could be a whole podcast in itself about the way people are finding friendships and relationships online now, that we are kind of losing that natural human interaction, but we'll talk about that some other time.
Well, I mean, and that's true because again, I'm really okay with being in the background, really okay with it. But I was like, I'm not going to find any friends that way. And I'm not going to know if I share any similarities, any interests, or whatever with someone else.
Right.
Um, unless I do. And to be clear, it wasn't enough for me to just find a church. I knew I had to get plugged in somewhere.
Right.
And so I think that's a testimony to small groups or getting involved in a particular ministry. I knew that I have a heart for worship. So the natural thing for me to pursue was the worship team. And that in and of itself would at least put me around in close proximity with other people who had a heart for worship. So there's a similarity, at least something that you can ground onto to
Right.
find someone who might be interested in some of the things that you are. And that's exactly how that happened for us. Like we met in my audition and we started serving together. And then at some point we started talking.
I don't even know actually how it happened, but here we are.
I know how it happened.
She remembers.
And I'm going to tell you. I asked you one day we were serving. I think we were at one of the other campuses, not the main campus. And I was like, you ever record? Like, do you ever do music outside of church? And I wasn't sure when I asked you that, how you were going to take that, as if I was going to ask you to be like in some, like, I don't know, screamo rock band or something like that. What I really wanted.
Why would you assume that I would be in a screamo rock band?
I'm just saying. So I asked you that and you were like, at first you were like, no, not really. And I was like, okay, let me ask a more direct question. Have you ever thought about recording? Because I have a home studio. And you were like, yeah, I've thought about it. And I was like, I got a home studio. You ever want to sing? You should come out. That's how it started.
I didn't even remember that.
I remember it because it was very much outside of my comfort zone, which was my reasoning for going through that whole story. Was to
and
say
I'm not very approachable. I just want to kudos for her. But most people would have been like, no, I'm not talking to her.
Well, I could already, just being around you, I could see you had some personality traits that I resonated with. And then also you could sing, because I wasn't asking nobody to come do that who couldn't sing. I'm just being absolutely transparent. And you said yes. And then that's kind of how that started. You don't know how things like that are going to go, right?
Right.
But you have to take a chance. And that's my point, is you have to get plugged in, and then you got to start talking to people, and you have to show yourself to be friendly and approachable. And I have a very, very predominant resting face, but sometimes I'm very aware of my eyebrows, and I'll relax them. I'll bring them back down just so that people will talk to me.
Yeah, I am not as good at doing that as you are. There are times when my eyebrows just be acting foolish.
Not foolish.
Man, I'm just like, I have to catch myself.
Yes, and I usually catch you catching yourself, and it's hilarious. Okay, so we've talked about why we struggle with it, and we've talked about some of the things that we can do to maybe make that a little bit easier. What are the benefits of developing those relationships with other women?
Oh, it's man, they're endless, but I think one of the biggest things is when you're going through things, everyone has a tribe. It's very important that your tribe, is leading you in the right direction. Tribe needs to lead you to God. Let's do this biblically. Let's do it. I actually saw, and this is something I saw on I don't know, one of the platforms, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know. And this lady had gone through catastrophic loss. I mean, she lost her baby, and then she lost her dog, and then she lost her husband, and then she was pregnant and she lost that baby too.
Oh, Lord.
And she shared this video of her tribe of girls, and it was these women that she does life with, these Christian women, and they were washing her feet as she was just crying over the loss of her husband. And I thought, could you imagine going through something like that and not having those ladies there that are pouring into you? That probably crush you, right? And it's so important that when you're walking through things that you have people who, one, love you.
Right.
That's really important. Love you, but are also going to help be a support system that you need in Christ. Because we can take advice from anyone. We really can. And we can take advice from people who don't believe in Christ. Right. And it's probably not going to get you the outcome and where you need to be. Being with the right people are going to push you closer to God, further your walk.
Mhm.
They'll actually, for the people who feel like they're struggling, maybe to get in the word and get connected, being around women that are doing that will help you get better at it.
Mhm.
So there's limitless things that it does. But what it really does is it makes sure that you're around people that love you like Christ would love you.
Mhm.
And I think that's unmeasurable.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I'm glad you said that because that's not immediately where my mind went, but you're absolutely right. And we're not designed to do this life alone. Um, we need each other for that reason. That I mean, even Jesus sent out the disciples in twos. Like we're designed to do this together. So that's really good. I also think that you don't position yourself to grow to the full capacity that you can grow without those friendships if you have the right ones, because a good friend will hold you accountable to the things you say you want, to this walk that you're on, whatever it is. A good friend will hold you accountable.
Right.
If um if if I tell you, Madison, I want to improve at my guitar, and then you're texting me weekly and like, so what's our practice time look like?
How are you doing with that?
Exactly. You know, where are we going with that? That pushes you in a way that you just don't do
Right.
on your own. You need other people for that. Or, if you get to know me and then I'm doing something that's real out of character, you'd be able to speak into my life and be like, "What's up with you? Like, what are you on right now?" Because
Like, are you okay?
we don't do this. Like, you don't do this. So like, where are you at? um there's growth that happens when you have people who you trust to have your best interest at heart and point you in the right direction, to be able to speak those things into your life. And it pushes you, I would say, at a faster pace in growth than you might on your own, because you don't see everything, but people who spend time with you, they get to know you, and they get to pick up on things that you might not even think is a problem, and they're looking at it like that's a problem. We need to work on
Get
that.
yeah. I think that when you were talking about that, I was thinking about how when you get around a group of people, they may have strengths that are different than what your strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
So, not that I'm a procrastinator, but I'd have a lot of things that I do all the time. And so, some of the things, the desires and things I want to do, I don't do them
Mm-hmm.
because I prioritize the things I have to do and need to
Right.
do. And so, I don't take the time for the things I want to do. But when you have a Julia in your life, she will make you do the things you want to do. She will make sure it happens because that's the kind of person she is. So it's just important that you have those kind of people in your life that they know you enough to know what you're wanting and what you're going to go after, and they're going to make you do it. We wouldn't be sitting here today if it was just left in my lap. I'm just letting you know. I'd be like, yeah, I really want to do that, but maybe some other time.
Yeah, and don't tell me.
But as soon as you tell her, it's getting done.
Boom! I got the cameras. I got the microphone. We got the
Literally
the
told
backdrop.
her Monday, Tuesday. She's like, I got everything. I'm like, whoa,
I
calm
just
down.
need you to show up. Let's go.
Like, when are we doing this? But you get those people in your life that you tell them what your goals and your ambitions are and what you're trying to accomplish, and they'll push you to make sure you're doing that. Whereas, like I said, I'm not that I procrastinate, but I don't prioritize what I want. I'm going to prioritize what my kids want, prioritize what the husband wants, prioritize what the house needs, and then I will be last thing that I prioritize. And friendships like this makes it to where I do prioritize some of the things I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I do start going after some of the things that I wouldn't have gone after.
Right.
Now, having a friend like me is I don't ever give up. So I'm one of those people that I'm like, come hell or high water, we're going to do this. Like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you'll get around people and you'll see the things that they bring that you lack, or you lack over here, they will bring the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than in a marriage. Your husband brings something that you lack and you bring something maybe he lacks, and it works. Your friends are the same way.
Right. Exactly. We're all supposed to be pushing each other forward, and to piggyback off of what you said, you know, there's many a time when I'm dealing with something, facing something, and I'll think to myself, how would Madison respond to this? because Madison is going to respond to this very directly, and she's going to cut right to the heart of it. And sometimes I have a tendency to want to love you to it when
Right.
I just need to push you to it. And I glean that from you, and I mean that in all seriousness. I really do glean that from you, and in a way that I just don't have naturally. So when we say that, like, the friendship makes us better in areas that we may or may not be good in or focused on or things like that, it really is true. And I think that's why the Lord puts us together,
Right.
because we do fill each other's deficits in ways. And same thing, like, if I'm tired, Madison will remind me, nah, we said we were doing this and we've already started. So now we're really doing this. Like, what, you just got to get her
The
started.
follow through is we will follow through
Yeah, she's definitely
until
got the follow
completion.
through. So, I'm tired. I don't even text her and tell her I'm tired, because I know what I'm going to hear. This is not what we said. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah, I think that relationships and making sure you have good friendships as a woman is so important. They can build your self esteem. That's another thing. I know a lot of times, like, we're really hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
We really are. As women, we are constantly judging ourselves as the way we look. If we're single, we're judging that, why aren't we getting a spouse? If we have a spouse, we're judging that I'm not a good wife. If we got kids, we're judging our own parenting, how we parent these kids. We're constantly, in most places, most women are not uplifting themselves like, I'm the best mom ever. We're pulling ourselves down. You need those people around you that can bring you back to reality. You do not have to be perfect.
Right.
It's okay.
And that's another point for having the right people around you, because if you have the wrong women in your life, they will exacerbate that
Until you
negative
are
voice.
horrible.
Yes, and there are women out there who will. So finding the right friend, and I'm not talking about gassing you for no reason. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But like giving
Hate those
you
kind of people. It really drives me nuts when someone just keeps trying to blow my head up, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to hear this. Just
right,
stop. Leave me alone.
but giving you an accurate representation of yourself, like the word tells us to have, it's not always a negative thing. It's not necessarily saying you suck, so understand that. Sometimes it's like saying, no, you're actually doing okay in this area. You just need to be reminded that you're doing
Right.
okay in this area. And we need that. And I will say, the last thing that I will say is that you need other women in your life, because only women know what it's like to be a woman.
That's right.
And I've got very strong men in my life whom I love and go to for advice about certain things, but there's certain things I'm only going to a woman about, because she's the only one who's going to be able to understand it from the perspective that I'm walking through it. And if you don't have women in your life to do that, you're at a deficit. You're trying to figure something out that maybe she's already gone through,
Right.
or maybe y'all can walk through it together instead of doing this whole thing solo. And you don't find that outside of female relationships. And so I think you do yourself a disservice if you don't pursue those things.
And you really do see it. Most of the time, like, women who do not have the relationships, the female relationships, you see it spiral out. You see depression, you see different things, because we have a tendency to keep to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely see it. It's really is super important. And if you struggle having those relationships, I guess that's something that we should talk to. If you are maybe a female that you feel like the other girls just don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there where I had like 97,000 male friends, and I swore all women just loathed me.
I think maybe we stop making those assumptions for other people.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe sometimes we, like you said earlier, sometimes we decide for other people that they don't like us.
Right.
Let them decide for themselves whether they like you or not. But I think that requires a certain level of confidence in yourself, to go into those arenas and let people see you as you are. But you have to do that. If you want to
Right.
find some real friends, you have to let people see you as you are. So do it, because there is someone out there who's going to like you for you. It might not be everybody,
You
but
don't need 1,000 friends. You just need at least one,
yeah.
maybe two, like a couple. Like they say, if you meet I saw something one time that said if you meet one person in your life that you consider a true friend, that's more than most.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty crazy
Yeah.
to think. So, like, you don't have to have 97 friends. Maybe that some of the people that have that many friends are some of the loneliest people because they're not actually creating strong friendships. They're just have everyone's their acquaintance.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this. I know I said the last one was my last point, but this is really my last point. That you can have circles within a circle. And what I don't mean is that you're a clique. That's not what I'm saying. But I've got friendships that we are friends. But we're in different places in life and different locations and, things like that. To where like they might not necessarily be the first person I call if I'm going through something immediate because they're not immediately here.
Right.
Or, something like that. Or I know that they're going through a particular thing that they need their full attention to be able to deal with. It's okay with having like one or two really good, solid friends, and then having 3 or 4 that they're friends, but there's not that expectation. Everybody's not going to be your best friend is basically what I'm saying. And
Right.
That's okay. It's okay to have best friend and then friends and then acquaintances. That's okay.
And if you have 6 or 7 best friends, good for
I
you.
love that for you.
I bet you ain't married and you ain't got no kids. I'm just kidding. But if you have that many and you're not Michael.
Right. He's like an alien.
Yeah, he has way too many friends. It's like, who are you on the phone with? I couldn't even tell you. He talks to almost all of his friends every single day.
Mm-hmm.
He talks to these people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah. At this point, if I'm on the phone, it's probably 1 to 3 people. That's about it. And you're one of them. So it's just like, it's not hard to guess. Because I hate talking on the phone.
And I hate texting. I prefer to just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah. And I prefer that you only text me.
A lot of things get misconstrued through text message, okay? I read everything out of Yell. No matter what you text me, I think you have an attitude. I tell my people at work this. I'm like, every time you text me, I just assume you have an attitude. And don't you dare use the thumbs up little thing. That right there, straight disrespectful.
And see, I assume if you're calling me, I've done something to really make you mad to the fact that you had to call me.
No. Then nothing is in writing. Can't be proven.
Okay. With that being said, I think I'm done because
Yes.
This seems like territory where I might have to testify about something and I don't want to have to do that.
All right, guys. Until next time.